With KT becoming the first team to ever win the wildcard series from the 5th spots, they have earned the right to face the defending champion in what is now a rematch of last year's Korean series, which saw LG win their first championship in 29 years. But that was last year, and this year only one of these two teams will even have a chance to get back to the Korean series. Let's first take a look at these two teams and how they matched up on the season. LG won the season series 9-7, but KT won the most recent series at the end of August. On the season, these two teams are on opposite ends of the rankings when we talk about starters and bullpens. While LG has the better starting rotation, KT has the better bullpen. And that was the difference in the most recent 3-game series, where KT only scored 4 runs against the LG starters, but scored 13 against their bullpen. LG scored 9 runs against the KT starters while only scoring 8 against the bullpen, including one game that was even a bullpen day. So in terms of pitching, I'd say it's pretty even. Bullpens are more important in the playoffs, but KT's bullpen has much less rest than LG's bullpen. On the offensive side, these two teams are pretty evenly matched in all but 2 categories. LG scores more runs because they hit much better with runners in scoring position, where KT scores more of their runs via the outfield souvenirs. I have to give the advantage to LG on the offensive side because they will be playing in Jamsil for the first 2 games, which is not nearly as easy to hit homers in. The last 2 games against Doosan were also played in Jamsil, and KT had 1 extra base hit in the 2-game series. Defensively, LG has an advantage in almost every category. They commit less errors, turn more double plays, and throw out a higher percentage of runners. This advantage definitely goes to LG. On the base pass, LG, despite their fans pleading for them to stop running all the time, they continue to try and run into scoring position, but often just run themselves into outs. KT is only a little more successful than LG when attempting steals, but they don't attempt nearly as many stolen bases. Add in that LG also led the league in outs on the base pass, and it's easy to give the advantage on the bases to KT. With all things considered, it should be a pretty good series. These were the last 2 remaining teams last year, and they were my picks to battle it out in the Korean series again. But let's get into the first game. And if you want to join me and other KBO fans for the game, I'll be streaming this game live with English commentary right here on YouTube today. On the mound for KT will be Go Young-pyo. He has come out of the bullpen in the play-in game against SSG and also Thursday's game against Doosan, so I'm not sure how many innings he will be able to pitch. He did pitch much better in September with a 2.74 ERA in 4 games. Against LG, he really has not pitched well this season, or in any season really. This is really due to his struggles against lefties, as LG has a very lefty-heavy lineup. I went and looked at pitchers similar to Go Young-pyo. I did come across something that stood out to me. There were 2 other pitchers that threw from the sidearm slot that threw changeups first with a 4-seam fastball off of that changeup. If you look at these 2 pitchers and their pitch types combined with their stats against LG, you may notice that 2 of these pitchers didn't pitch well, but one did. The 2 that pitched poorly against LG have something in common. LG's opening day starter, Dietrich Enns, will get the ball for LG. Enns has had a solid first season in the KBO with a 4.19 ERA in 30 games. He hasn't pitched great against KT, but has found himself 2-0 in his 2 starts. I went and looked at some other pitchers that throw similar pitch speeds and pitch selection as Enns. The closest pitchers were Yoo Hyun-jin for Hanwha and Brandon Waddle for Doosan. Yoo Hyun-jin had similar numbers against KT this year as Enns, and Waddle didn't face KT this year, but he did have similar numbers to Enns and Yoo Hyun-jin in the previous 2 seasons where he did face him. So it seems KT just hits this type of pitcher well. Now that we've talked about the people throwing the ball, let's talk about the guys who have to hit it. My key players for the game. First for KT, Wang Jae-gyun. He is hitting .346 against LG with 3 homers. His homers, on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS are the highest against any team. He also has hit lefties well in the season. In his 2 games against Enns, he went 1 for 4 with a single and 3 walks. He went 0 for 7 in the series against Doosan with 1 strikeout and grounded into an inning-ending double play with the bases loaded. He has to turn that around if KT wants to win. For LG, it is Hong Chang-gi. Hong Chang-gi has been an absolute terror for KT this season. He's hitting .474 in 16 games against them. He has 22 runs, 29 hits, .603 on-base percentage, .529 slugging, and an .1182 OPS against KT that are all the highest against any of the teams he's faced. Add in that he also hits sidearmers well with a .444 batting average, and it's a good thing he had some time off before this series because he may spend the entire series between the lines running around in the outfield and on the bases. Before I tell you my Game 1 pick, if you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button. The more subscribers and views that this English content gets, the more likely the KBO will be to start their own English content for everyone. So, who do I pick? Who comes away with the Game 1 victory depends on two things. Did the KT coaching staff look through the tapes to see what NC was doing to be so successful against LG? If they did, and Go Young-pyo can keep the game close while LG runs into outs and bunts with runners on first and no outs like they have all season, KT can win this game. But I don't believe for a second the KT staff would put in that effort, and LG is well rested and at home. So I have to take LG in Game 1.